I want to tell you something that's going to change everything you thought you knew about money. Right now, in this very moment, there is a frequency of wealth vibrating all around you. It's not something you have to chase down the street or beg the universe for. It's already here, humming with life, waiting for you to tune into it. Think of it like a radio station that's been broadcasting your favorite song all along, and you just never turned the dial quite right. I've watched people struggle for years, decades even, trying to force money into their lives through sheer willpower and worry. They wake up every morning with that knot in their stomach, checking their bank account like it's some kind of judge pronouncing sentence on their worth as a human being. They work themselves to exhaustion, repeating the same tired patterns, wondering why prosperity seems to flow so easily to others while they're stuck pushing a boulder uphill. And here's what breaks my heart. They think it's because they're not good enough, not smart enough, not deserving enough. But that's not true at all. That's never been true. The real reason money hasn't been flowing to you the way you deserve has nothing to do with your worth. You are infinitely worthy right now, exactly as you are. The real reason is much simpler, and once you understand it, everything shifts. You've been tuned to the wrong frequency. You've been broadcasting lack and limitation from your very consciousness, and the universe, in its perfect responsiveness, has been saying yes to exactly what you're broadcasting. It's like standing in front of a mirror and complaining that the reflection is frowning while you're frowning at it. The mirror isn't judging you. It's just reflecting exactly what you're showing it. But here's the magnificent news that I want you to really hear. Really let sink deep into your bones. You can change the station right now. In just a few minutes, you can begin to align yourself with the wealth frequency that's been waiting for you all along. And when you do, money will begin to flow to you in ways that will astonish you. Not because you've suddenly become worthy, but because you've finally allowed yourself to receive what was always meant for you. The universe never responds to lack. It only responds to the consciousness of abundance. When you wake up in the morning and your first thought is, I don't have enough, you've just placed your order for more insufficiency. When you check your bank account with dread, you're declaring to the universe, show me more reasons to feel this dread. And the universe, being the perfect mirror that it is, obliges. But here's what changes everything. The universe doesn't know the difference between what you have and what you're grateful for. It only recognizes the vibration of abundance. This is why a person who earns little but lives in gratitude often experiences more unexpected windfalls than someone earning six figures while constantly complaining about what they lack. I've watched this principle prove itself again and again. A woman came to me once, barely making ends meet, drowning in bills. She said, how can I be grateful when I can't even pay my rent? I told her, bless every bill that comes. Each one represents a service you've already received. The electric company trusted you. The landlord trusted you. That trust is a form of wealth. She thought I was mad, but she did it anyway. Within 2 weeks, an old friend contacted her about a job opportunity she'd never considered. Within a month, she doubled her income. The money was always trying to reach her. But her vibration of resentment and fear had built a wall around her. The moment she shifted to gratitude, she became magnetic to prosperity. You see, money is energy seeking a willing vessel. It flows toward those who welcome it, who expect it, who treat it with respect and joy. Every time you say, I can't afford it, you're closing the door. Every time you say, how can I afford it? You're opening a window for creative solutions to enter. This isn't about denying your current reality. It's about refusing to make it your permanent identity. Your current bank balance is a photograph of your past thinking. It has nothing to do with your future, unless you keep energizing it with your attention and emotion. I've watched people win the lottery and return to poverty within years. I've watched others start with nothing and build empires that last generations. The difference was never the money. It was whether they changed their inner conversation or kept running the same old program. Most people treat abundance like it's something outside themselves that they have to chase, capture, and hold on to with white knuckles. They're constantly checking their phone, their bank account, their mailbox, looking for evidence that it's coming. And every time they don't see it, they reinforce the very lack they're trying to escape. This is why I say stop looking for it. You don't look for your own hand. You don't search for your own breath. They're already part of you. Abundance is the same. It's not coming to you from somewhere out there. It's flowing through you from within, and it will take whatever form matches your inner conviction. Let me tell you about a woman who came to me absolutely convinced she was blocked from receiving. She had all the spiritual language down perfectly, talking about manifestation and alignment and worthiness. But underneath every word was this quiet, insistent belief: things never work out for me. And sure enough, they didn't. She'd get close to opportunities and they'd dissolve. Money would come and immediately go to some unexpected expense. She called it bad luck. I called it perfect reflection. I asked her one question. What if nothing is blocking you? What if everything is actually working exactly as it should, showing you precisely what you believe? She looked at me like I'd spoken in another language because we've been so conditioned to think that our failures mean something is wrong with the universe, rather than seeing them as the universe working flawlessly to mirror our inner state. She didn't like that answer at first. Nobody does. It's much more comfortable to believe in external obstacles than to accept that we've been building our own walls. But here's what's magnificent about this truth. If you built the walls, you can absolutely tear them down. You're not a victim of some cosmic blockage. You're a creator who's been creating unconsciously. And now you're learning to create with intention. And this shift from unconscious to conscious creation, it happens the moment you begin to speak differently about your life. I worked with a woman whose entire vocabulary was saturated with impossibility. I can't afford that. I never get opportunities like that. People like me don't have those experiences. She spoke these phrases so automatically they'd become part of her breathing pattern. And can you guess what her life reflected back to her? Exactly what she'd been declaring. Scarcity, closed doors, and limitation after limitation. One day I asked her to try something radical. For just 7 days, replace I can't afford with I'm open to receiving. Replace I never get with I'm ready for. Replace people like me don't with I'm worthy of extraordinary experiences. She actually laughed and said, words won't change my bank account, but she was desperate enough to try. Within those 7 days, something remarkable happened. Not because the words were magic, but because the words changed her attention. When you say, I can't afford that, you close the file. The conversation ends. But when you say, I'm open to receiving that, your mind stays alert. It starts noticing possibilities. It stays receptive instead of defensive. She found $20 in an old coat pocket. A friend invited her to an event she'd been wanting to attend. A client she'd given up on suddenly paid an old invoice. Were these coincidences, or was she finally allowing herself to see and receive what had always been available? The universe is constantly offering. But you have to be in a receiving state, not a refusing state. And your words determine which state you're in. This is why affirmations work. Not because they're mystical spells, but because they redirect your consciousness. They interrupt the old pattern and install a new one. They're like changing the station on a radio. You were tuned to the frequency of lack, and now you're deliberately tuning to the frequency of abundance. But here's what most people don't understand about affirmations. They're not meant to convince you of something that feels impossible. They're meant to redirect your attention. When you say, my God-given success cannot be tampered with or interfered with by the jealousy or ignorance of any man, you're not trying to believe it, you're declaring it. You're announcing it to the universe, to your subconscious mind, to every cell in your body. The moment you speak it, something shifts. Your subconscious doesn't argue. It simply begins to rearrange your world to match the words you've spoken. I've watched this work in the most remarkable ways. A woman came to me once, terrified that her business partner was going to steal everything from her. She was consumed with suspicion, checking contracts, hiring lawyers, making herself sick with worry. I told her to stop all of it. Just stop. And instead, every morning and night say this: there is no competition on the spiritual plane. What is mine by divine right, and no man can take it from me. She thought I was mad, but she was desperate, so she did it. Within 2 weeks, the partner came to her with a proposal that was better than anything she'd imagined. A clean, fair split that left them both prosperous. The fear had been creating the very thing she was afraid of. The affirmation dissolved the fear, and the situation resolved itself. This is the mechanics of miracles. You don't need to know how it works, you just need to use it. Now let's go deeper into the types of affirmations that work best. Not all statements are created equal. Some affirmations are weak. They're half-hearted, wishy-washy things that have no power because they have no conviction behind them. I hope I'll be successful. That's not an affirmation. That's a wish. Wishes are passive. Affirmations are active. The most powerful affirmations are bold, declarative, and final. They leave no room for doubt. I am now in my right place, doing my right work with my right pay. Notice there's no question mark, no maybe. It's done. It's finished. You're simply announcing what already is in the spiritual realm. This is why I never say, I hope to get well, or maybe things will work out. That's doubt masquerading as humility. I say I am healed. I have prosperity. My way is made clear. And the universe rushes to confirm it. You see, you're not trying to convince God of anything. God already knows you're good. You're convincing your own subconscious mind. You're overriding the old program of lack and limitation with the truth of abundance. Every time you speak your word with faith, you're chiseling away at the false beliefs that have kept you bound. I knew a young artist who couldn't sell a single painting. For years she struggled, barely able to afford canvas and paint. She came to me discouraged, ready to give up her dream entirely. I told her what I'm telling you now. Stop declaring poverty. Stop saying, nobody wants my work. Every time you say that, you're creating more of it. I taught her to say instead, my art blesses and prospers everyone who sees it. The perfect buyers are now seeking my work. I am abundantly compensated for my divine expression. She found it awkward at first, even silly, but she persisted. Within 2 months, a gallery owner discovered her work. Within 6 months, she had her first solo exhibition. Within a year, her paintings were selling for more than she'd ever imagined. Had her talent suddenly improved? No. Her consciousness had expanded. She'd stopped blocking her own good with words of limitation. This is the secret the mystics have always known. You are the prophet of your own life. Every word you speak is a prediction, a declaration, a creative force. The universe doesn't judge your words as true or false. It simply says yes to whatever you persistently claim. So watch your words like a gardener watches her garden. Pull up the weeds of negative speech the moment they appear. When you catch yourself saying, I can't afford this, or nothing ever works out for me, stop. Immediately revise that statement. Say instead, I am abundantly supplied with everything I need. Everything works together for my highest good. At first, your rational mind will protest. That's not true, it will argue, and you must calmly reply. It is true in the spiritual realm, and it's manifesting now in the physical. You see, there's a lag between the spiritual and the physical, what I call the time interval of manifestation. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You trust the invisible process. You know that beneath the surface forces are at work. The same is true with your words. I once knew a woman who was told she would never walk again. The doctors had given their final verdict, but she refused to accept it as her reality. Every day she would affirm, my legs are strong and whole. I walk in perfect freedom. Her friends thought her delusional. They said, face the facts. But she understood something they didn't. That there are higher facts than physical facts. For months nothing seemed to change. This is where most people give up. But this woman persisted. She spoke her words with feeling, with conviction, as if they were already true. And gradually, imperceptibly at first sensation returned, then movement, then strength. Within a year she was walking. The doctors called it a miracle. She called it the law. What sustained her was not blind faith, but an understanding of how the law works. She knew that her words were creating a new pattern in the invisible realm, and that this pattern would eventually manifest in the physical. She knew that doubt would kill the demonstration faster than anything else. So, whenever doubt arose, and it did arise, she would immediately cancel it with her affirmation. She became vigilant at the door of her consciousness, refusing entry to any thought that contradicted her desired outcome. This is the discipline required. You must become the guardian of your mental household. You wouldn't allow a thief to walk freely through your home, taking whatever he pleased. Why then do you allow negative thoughts to ransack your consciousness? Every fearful thought is a thief. Every worried word is an intruder. Every complaint is a vandal destroying the good that's trying to reach you. I remember a woman who came to me, her face lined with years of struggle. She said, I've been fighting for my good for so long. I'm exhausted. I looked at her with deep compassion and said, then stop fighting. You've been battling the very thing that's trying to bless you. You see, the universe isn't withholding your good. You're blocking it with resistance. Every time you doubt, you put up a wall. Every time you worry, you slam a door. Every time you complain, you turn away the very messenger carrying your answer. The spiritual realm operates on acceptance, not aggression. It responds to faith, not force. Think of it this way. When you plant a seed, you don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing. You plant it with confidence, water it with faith, and trust the invisible process happening beneath the soil. Your word is that seed. Your desire, planted in the invisible, is already taking root. But if you keep digging it up with doubt, examining it with fear, questioning it with worry, you destroy the very thing you're trying to grow. I once knew a man who spent 20 years trying to become successful. 20 years of striving, pushing, forcing. Then one day, exhausted, he simply let go. He said, "Divine intelligence, I place this entirely in your hands. Show me what to do." Within 3 months, opportunities flooded in that he couldn't have imagined in 20 years of struggle. Why? Because he finally got out of his own way. He stopped blocking the channel with resistance. This is what I mean when I say let go and let God. It's not passivity. It's the highest form of action. It's removing the obstacles you've placed between yourself and your good. Your good is not in the future. It's not something you have to chase down or catch. It exists now in the invisible, waiting for your recognition. The moment you truly accept it, the moment you cease resisting it, it rushes into your experience with a speed that will astound you. So today, right now, stop fighting, stop struggling, stop trying to force doors open with your limited human strength. Instead, stand at the entrance of your Red Sea. Lift your consciousness to God and speak your word. The way is made clear. Infinite intelligence leads me now. That which is mine by divine right cannot be kept from me. And then this is crucial, then you let it go. You drop the mental picture of struggle. You release the grip of anxiety. You stop checking, obsessing, manipulating. You go about your day with a light heart, knowing it is done. This isn't passivity. It's power. It's the difference between a child frantically digging a well with a spoon and simply turning on the faucet that's already connected to the reservoir. God's supply is the reservoir. Your consciousness is the faucet. When you align with faith, when you speak the word and release, you turn that faucet. The water flows effortlessly. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But I've affirmed, I've visualized, I've prayed, and nothing happened. But did you really release? Or did you affirm in the morning and worry by noon? Did you visualize abundance while checking your bank account with dread? Did you pray and then tell 12 people how impossible your situation is? You cannot plant a seed and then dig it up every day to see if it's growing. The seed must rest in the dark earth. It must be left alone to do its invisible work. Your word is the seed. Your sustained faith is the rich soil. And your release is the act of covering that seed and walking away in confidence. I've watched people affirm for years without results, and do you know why? Because they're affirming with one breath and denying with the next. They say, God is my supply, and then panic when a bill arrives. They declare, infinite intelligence guides me, and then make decisions from fear. They affirm prosperity and then speak words of lack to everyone who will listen. Your word is only as powerful as your belief in it. And your belief is revealed not by what you say in your affirmations, but by what you say in your unguarded moments. What story are you telling about your life when you think no one important is listening? That is the word that's creating your reality. So, if you want the Red Sea to part, you must hold your consciousness steady. The universe doesn't care if you're performing your faith for an audience or whispering your doubts into your pillow at 3 in the morning. It responds to the vibration you're actually holding, not the one you're pretending to hold. This is why you can't fake your way to a demonstration. You can't say affirmations through gritted teeth and expect miracles. The universe reads your heart the way you'd read a barometer. It knows exactly what weather you're broadcasting, regardless of what sunny forecast you're announcing with your mouth. I knew a man who said all the right things. He spoke about prosperity consciousness. He quoted scripture. But in his private moments he was calculating, worrying, scheming how to manipulate circumstances to force his good. And nothing moved. His life stayed stuck like a record with a scratch. Then one day something shifted. He got tired, not tired of trying, tired of pretending. He admitted he was scared. He admitted he didn't trust. He admitted he'd been treating the universe like a reluctant debtor he had to corner and extract payment from. And in that admission something released. Within weeks the demonstration came. Not because he'd perfected his technique, but because he'd finally stopped lying to himself about where his consciousness actually was. You see, the first step to changing your word is admitting what your word actually is. You can't transform what you won't acknowledge. If you're walking around pretending you're holding faith when you're actually holding fear, you're building on sand. But the moment you say, "I'm afraid and I'm willing to see this differently," now you're standing on solid ground. Now the universe has something real to work with. This is the great paradox. Honesty is the shortcut. The fastest way to change your consciousness is to stop performing it and start examining it. What are you actually believing when no one's watching? What verdict are you pronouncing over your life in the privacy of your own thoughts? Because that private word, that secret judgment, that's the one with power. The word goes forth whether you speak it aloud or whisper it in the chambers of your heart. And here's what most people miss. Silence isn't neutral. When you're silent, you're not saying nothing. You're agreeing with whatever story is already running. You're giving your consent to the old narrative, the inherited belief, the fear that's been on repeat since you can remember. I've seen people work themselves into exhaustion, trying to change their lives through action alone. New routines, new strategies, new plans. While underneath it all, they're still running the same internal commentary. This probably won't work either. I'm just not lucky. Things like that don't happen to people like me. And then they wonder why their efforts feel like pushing a boulder uphill. You cannot drag your blessing out of an unwilling universe. You cannot beg, barter, or manipulate your good into existence. But you can align yourself with it so completely that it has no choice but to show up. An alignment isn't complicated. It's not a special technique or a secret ritual. It's simply this: speaking the word that matches the life you're claiming, not the life you're tolerating. When someone asks how you are, and inside you're terrified about money, exhausted from struggle, frustrated by delay, what do you say? Not as performance but as a genuine decree. I am provided for. I am guided. My good is making its way to me now. Not because it looks true but because you're making it true. Because your word is the only authority that matters in your world. I know what you're thinking. But isn't that just lying? Isn't that denial? No. Denial is refusing to acknowledge what's in front of you. This is refusing to be defined by it. There's a universe of difference. You're not pretending the challenge isn't there. You're declaring it doesn't have the final say. You're withdrawing your agreement with limitation. You're speaking to the invisible reality that's trying to become visible, giving it permission, giving it a voice, giving it your cooperation. And when you do this consistently, something shifts in the atmosphere around you. You begin to feel it before you see it. There's a lightness and expectancy, a quiet knowing that settles in your chest. You're no longer wrestling with reality. You're cooperating with a higher law. I remember a woman whose business was failing, creditors were calling, and she could see no way out. She said, "I've tried everything. Nothing works for me." I looked at her and said, "Then stop trying to work things. Work the law instead." "You've been trying to rearrange conditions," I explained. "But conditions are effects, not causes. You must go to the invisible cause. You must speak to the divine blueprint that exists behind this appearance of failure. There's a pattern of success that already exists for you. You're simply looking past it at the shadows." She asked, "What do I say?" "You declare the truth," I told her. "You say, divine success flows through me now. Every right door opens. Every wrong door closes. I am guided to my highest good." And you say it until you believe it. And you believe it until you see it. Within weeks, everything changed. Not because she manipulated circumstances, but because she aligned herself with a different current. An unexpected client appeared. A debt was forgiven. An opportunity opened that she hadn't even known existed. The universe wasn't punishing her before and rewarding her after. It was simply responding to the frequency she was broadcasting, first of lack, then of supply. This is the marvelous responsiveness of the invisible world. It doesn't judge your worthiness. It simply mirrors your conviction. And conviction isn't loud. It isn't desperate. It's calm, persistent, unwavering faith that what you've declared is already moving toward you from the invisible into the visible.